Welcome to this third video, which helps hopefully explain the process for doing the project in Chapter 2 involving the Salsa Recipe program. Quick review, and of course if you've not listened to the first and second videos and gotten this far, you need to do those first. In the opening screen of this particular activity, the intent is for our phone, or our emulator in this case, to display the Salsa Recipe title screen with a picture of this wonderful appetizer, or meal if you want to call it that. And when the user clicks the View Recipe button, which we'll code in a few minutes, a new screen will come up that looks like this one, that has the actual recipe by ingredients: tomatoes, onion, garlic, cilantro, and then the preparation. So at this stage what we'll do, having last finished on page 52 where we coded the manifest screen for healthy recipes, this guy right here, what we'll now do is add the activity in there, or add the Java portion of the activity that actually makes the mouse work, so the computer understands what to do. Now, a little warning here: a lot of the code will be very foreign to you. Don't worry about that. It's just the education of how this stuff works. Many people don't like programming. Most people don't like programming like they don't like math. However, I'm glad somebody does, or we wouldn't have these nice apps on our phones and on our computers, and we wouldn't have web pages and such. So just try to get your understanding about it. If you're very grade conscious to the point of stressing out over it, as I was in college with the A mentality, I don't want you to worry about that. I tell people all the time, there are 7 billion people on the earth. I'm the only one on the planet that determines your grade, and I'm telling you, don't worry. You have to trust me there or live in your stressful misery. So hopefully you'll trust me on this. Try the activities and we'll go from there. Having said that, on page 53 we have a good bit. Hopefully there's not a lot of noise here, because it's hard to record sometimes in my office. I'm hearing some distractions. I apologize for this as I'm blabbing right now. On page 53, 54, 55, 56, you'll actually get some explanations of the code that we're about to just type in. And again, in the interest of time and the length of the video, I'm just going to go in basically and tell you what to type in. We'll talk about the reasons for it maybe through some other exercise. So when we actually do the coding here, if you want to cut to the chase, you want to go in on page 54, and starting right here, you want to close the Healthy Recipe Manifest tab, and I'm going to go ahead and close that right now. Just hit the little X right here for Healthy Manifest. This is a screen right now that shows both activities. When you close it, it will ask you to save it, and of course you want to do that. And that activity is right over here on the left hand side in the Healthy Recipe Package Explorer folder, if you want to call it that. Alright, that's closed now. And if you go into the recipe.java code associated with this page, you'll notice right here that it says in line 5, it says extends activity, which means it adds this functionality to the program. Look at line 6, and hopefully you've numbered these lines from previously. If not, you can go to Windows Preferences. You can look at how to get these line numbers if you need to by going back, and I'm looking in the book right now as to what page. You would go to page, you may find it faster than I find it. Hopefully I'll find it. I know it's at the bottom and I'm not seeing it at the moment, which makes the video that much longer. I apologize. I don't want to stop talking because you'll think the video has malfunctioned. But if you want to get these line numbers in here, there is a place, and I genuinely apologize for not seeing it. Maybe you have your line numbers already in your program. As many times I've gone through this, you would think that your instructor would remember this, and he doesn't. I know what to do, but I can't find it in the book to give you a visual, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Let's see if I can find this. Yes, page 49, finally. That will give you the way to display these line numbers. Okay, in any event, back to page 54, and we're going to click line 6. I'm in the middle of instruction 1, third sentence, bottom of page 54. Click on line 6, so you have a marking place right there, and I hope you can see this on the video. And if you'll tab right there, you can indent the line. It's just a convention in Java. You're going to type the word on create, and then don't use all lowercase. You want to be very careful about case sensitivity, lower and uppercase letters here. And you can do the straight typing if you want to, but there are some shortcuts in Java that might make it easier. Don't let the X excite you on the side. The computer gets excited about this. It thinks you're through typing, so just ignore these X's for right now and do your best. Hold down the control key, and while you're holding it down, hit the space bar, and you'll get some options on there to help you automatically do some typing, kind of like the texting when you're texting on your phone, and it does those features that help you correct spelling and suggest words, and this is what's happening here. Alright, you have a lot of possibilities here. Step 2, you want to click the very first onCreate method that says onCreate bundle saved instance state. Click that very first one, and we'll add that. You may have to double click it, and we'll add that to your list. Now, where did it add mine? I'm trying to find what it did. I'm going to, yeah, there it is. It says saved instance state right there. In fact, it gave you a whole set of statements. Don't let that scare you. It says protected void, onCreate, bundle, etc. And you can confirm this if you can see it with your eyes on page 55. You can see the code that's generated. I can't see that very well because my eyes are older. If you go to the end of what is now line 10, at the end of the semicolon after saved instance state, and then hit the enter key, you'll have a new blank line, which will now be line 11 on this one, and you're going to type the word set capital content, spell it correctly, be very careful with this, capital view, parenthesis, capital R, and then a period. And I think there may be a mistake right there, possibly, and then there isn't. Now, when you type the period, you should see something, another screen that will come up, and you want to choose the word layout, which is the second one. Double click layout. Your cursor is now at the end of the letter T. You're going to put another period, and another group of options will come up. You're going to click recipe int, which is the second one. It recognizes that there is a screen called recipe out there. Now again, don't worry about that red X on the left of the 11. You're okay right now. Alright, there's a closing parenthesis there. Hopefully automatically. If there's not, go ahead and type one there. It says to go ahead and type one if one doesn't appear. So you're good. Yours appears there. Turn to page 56 and hit a semicolon. And that should complete the statement. Notice that the X has disappeared at the end of the line now. If it hasn't, we'll worry about it later. Look at the code on page 56 to confirm what you've typed. Alright, that now takes care of this portion. Now, so that now it knows to look at the recipe activity and the layout that goes with. Basically what this screen does is it recognizes for the Java code associated with the recipe emulator screen, it associates those together both by programming and by what's displayed. So it tells it to display it on the phone. Now we're going to let the computer know what happens when we click that button. We want to make sure when we click the button that it knows what it's supposed to do. Basically, a program is a set of instructions that tells the computer what to do. So we have to program that button in activity main so that it knows what to do when we click that button. So on step 1, page 58, we're going to open main, which is associated with that first screen, activity main. So click main.java, and you see that it says extends activity down here, and you have the code associated with that. And we're going to type in some code to recognize the button. So go to the right of the set content view r.layout, and yours says activity main instead of main. Don't worry about the exact words so much in the book. You're going to go to the end of line 12, which says set content view r.layout.activity_main. Should be okay with it. Press the enter key, step 1 of page 58. And you may have some mistakes here. Don't be scared of the mistakes and the X's and the red squiggly lines under the words. Type button with a capital letter, space, and the letter B, equals, I'm on step 1, page 58. In parentheses, capital button. See, there's the red X. Don't let it bother you. Find is lowercase letters. View starts with a capital V. By starts with a capital B. ID starts with a capital I. So it's button, parentheses. Find, capital VIEW, capital BY, capital ID, parenthesis, R, period, ID, lowercase letters, dot, BTN, and you'll notice this right there. It tries to help us out right here, and you could actually choose that if you wanted to. Double click it. I'm going to go ahead and type it in, BTN, RECIPE, parenthesis, semicolon. Now again, don't let the squiggly lines scare you right now. Just check for your corrections in your typing. You might recognize the button recipe, BTN recipe, from where we named the button when we created it earlier in a previous video. Now after this code is typed in, second paragraph of step 1, you want to point to the red curly line below the first button command. So you're going to go over to the very first one, and just touch that with your mouse, and it will come up in a second, and you're going to choose the very first option that says Import Button Android Widget. Click that, and that takes care of that X. It recognizes where the button is now. It's now associated with it. Alright, at the end of that line I can now press Enter. Step 2. Now we'll code the button listener so it recognizes the listener, meaning when you click the button the computer listens, so to speak. It's a terming computer where it listens, it waits for you to click it, and then takes action once the click is done. So in step 2 I type B, the name of the button, dot, SETON, set on, and a code list comes up for you. You want to click the one that says On Click Listener, the very first one. So double click on that one. It'll add the code to it. It's a lot easier to type it that way than to type it. Alright, now once you've done that, you're going inside the parentheses, second paragraph of step 2, you're going to type new space on, and since it's not giving you a list now, hold down Control and then spacebar, you'll get a list, and you're going to choose the first choice, which has an on-click listener with an anonymous intertype event handler. I'm just reading that. It's the very first one you want to see right there. Double click that first one. Alright, point to the red curly line below on-click listener, and there, just point to it, just hover over it, and you'll select Import on-click listener. Click that. That generates the importing of that code to the computer, and at the end of the closing parenthesis, not the curly brace, but at the end of the closing parenthesis right between them, you're going to hit a semicolon. We're now at step 3. Hopefully this is not terribly confusing. Again, the X is there for right now, but we can fix that later. So you're now going to click inside the public void on click view V, which is on line 20 on my screen. It's down below all this stuff, below override. You want to click after the to do comment, so click right at the end of line 21 where it says to do auto generated method stub. You're going inside, you're going basically, to explain that direct, you're going inside. There's a brace right here and there's a brace right here. You want to click in between those braces. It doesn't matter really where you click. You can click below it, beside it, whatever. You can click right there. It's fine. As long as you're in between the braces at line 20 and line 23, you're okay. So you're going to type the words, one word, start activity, all lowercase, no space between the words. Hold down Control Spacebar again for some options. And you'll do the first activity that says Start Activity Intent Void Activity, the very first one. So click that one to choose it. You have to double click it. And you'll get another option there. And you'll change that word that's highlighted right now so that it says New Int, N-E-W space I-N-T. Control Spacebar again. And select Intent Content Package ending with the letter CLS, which I think in mine is like the 5th one down the screen. It's that one right there. Intent Content Package Content Class CLS. I don't know what all of it means either, just trust me. Double click it, so that's selected. Now in the next set you want to change the word package context to the words main period this. Go to the CLS and click on that one. So you select it. And you want to change that to capital recipe dot class. At the end of the parenthesis, and there are 2 of them, you'll put a semicolon. Again, don't worry about the X's right now. Let's save all this. Go to File, choose Save All. That saves everything. Hopefully now we're ready to run the application. Now to correct these errors, the easiest way probably to do this is to move over to the X when you see it, and we'll usually give you a suggestion. I'm going to go to this top one first, line 18 in my case. I've got an extra syntax error on token, so I'm going to click on it, and I think it takes care of it when I do that. I'm going to delete this and see if it's happy. Hopefully it is. Alright, even though I said put one. Click right here on the X, right click on it, or left click on it rather. See what happens if I do this. Insert semicolon to complete statement. So I think I'll insert a semicolon. See what happens if I put one right there and click away from it. Looks like it's happy. A lot of times that will take care of your errors. Alright, now I can run this. I'll go ahead and do save all again just to be on the safe side. And now I'm going to click the word run like I did in the last chapter. Choose the word run, the top option in that menu. And we're patient with it. Here comes the launch. Again, I'm staying online with you, maybe talk about the weather or something. And remember, the Android application is a bit slow. It's just because it uses a lot of CPU time. A lot of the processing is done. It's a very busy application. But I want you to have the education with this. I hope this is not painful for you. I know coding can be a pain, and that's the reason I gave you the small exercises, which gives you just the regular Java language. This is just kind of an extra activity. It seems like the bulk of the class, but I don't want you to feel any stressful kind of academic pressure with this. Not many people do cell phone or smartphone applications. It's kind of a new concept. I just wanted you to get the exposure to it. Hopefully this will come up in just a minute. Mine usually takes about a clock minute to come up, and again, I don't want to be silent so that you won't think, whoops, the video is not working today. I've had a lot of computer problems with my laptop this semester also, and I'm on pins and needles just like you are, and I'm not about to let my students get unduly stressed unless of course they do nothing, and that's a different animal. When you refuse to do the work at all or procrastinate yourself into a corner, that's a different animal. And I'm sure hoping this is going to show up. There we go. There's my screen, and I'm worried about the time. What you'll do now, okay, that disappears. Probably loading the other window as well because the processor seems real busy. There's my time right there. And now it's the correct time. The first time it wasn't. Alright, again, to run the program, I move over here to the lock, hold my mouse button down, drag over until I go all the way to the right to unlock it. In just a minute I should see, that's just a typical, kind of like an ad before a YouTube movie comes up. So we should be able to see the application come up shortly, and I don't know if shortly might be a minute or a minute and a half. Don't know what's going to happen, but I'll wait for it. I don't think I have to click the OK button. Some of you may know more about this than I do in some situations because you're more hands-on. There it goes. And there's my salsa recipe. First screen. Hopefully when I click View Recipe, give it time, there it is. So even with all those errors, it did work out. Please, please, please let me know if you have difficulties with this. And of course, if you're going to send this to me, you're going to go to your, wherever you happen to have your stuff located. Mine's on the hard drive, Android. Yours may be on your workspace on your flash drive or somewhere. But go into your Eclipse software, find your workspace, and then you want to take the Healthy Recipes document and you want to zip it first and send the zipped copy to me. Please let me know if you have problems, and I hope these videos are helpful to you.